A friend of mine came over the other day, and I just came from a run, and I had my Swiss national jersey of the soccer team on because I used that for running when it's colder. And he's like, "Oh, look here, a medic." I'm like, what are you talking about, fool? It's not a medic. This is the Swiss national emblem. This is the Swiss cross, the white cross on a red background. This is our national, is our flag. This is who we are. But then I said, on a second thought, after being just like, what are you talking about? Want to get at me about my nationality, my first nationality? And I said, well, there's something like the Red Cross. It's reversed. It's a red cross on a white background. And we started to talk about it real quick. And I said, yeah, Henry Dunant is the founder of the Red Cross, International Committee of the Red Cross. And he was Swiss, and he was from Geneva. And he founded that in like it's around 1850-ish, around that time. And I gave him a little story who Henry Dunant was and why he founded the Red Cross. And I want to share that with you because I just read up on it. It's a great story. So Henry Dunant was born in Switzerland, in Geneva, into a good family, a good education. He was not good at school somehow, but he had other skills. And what you don't hear a lot, and I'm not trying to overemphasize this, but Henry Dunant was a Christian. He was a Christian man. He had his beliefs. He was, in his young age, in his 20s, very involved, founding. He was good in organizing and gathering people. That was his gift. And he had conviction. And he wanted to change the world, as you do in your 20s. Hopefully that's what you want to do. But we forget sometimes, we don't want to hear the backstories of some of great organizations and people that founded them, because we don't want to, the Christian background views are like, why is this important? It's like, it's everything. Why? Because those guys wouldn't have founded those corporations, those organizations, if it wouldn't have been for their faith. Because, they saw the world around them, like you and me, and wanted to do something about it, to change it, to make it better. And especially if you are a Christian, if you are a believer, if you have a relationship with God, you cannot do, how do I say this right? You have to, because you're compelled, your heart goes out. And that's why you do it. You're motivated by what's going on the inside, that you want to make a change on the outside because you experienced the change on the inside. Maybe that's put the right way. And Henry Dunant was one of those people. And there's many, many more that those things that we have nowadays, a lot of benefits, even hospital. I talked to somebody the other day that we have schools, that we have hospitals. This is all coming from the same source that people of Christian faith wanted to do something about it: education. Helping people, hospitals. And so this NGO, Red Cross, was founded based on something that he experienced. He actually was involved in something like YMCA. There were different organizations like that, and they had similar values, and he tried to globalize them, or just put them all together, because it's we all need each other, basically. We need to help each other. And so for some of his efforts, he had to go to, I don't know if it was France or Italy, and he wanted to meet with Bonaparte III because he needed some passage to go to a certain area in order to do that. And he was witnessing the Battle of Solferino. It was one of the bloodiest battles in that century. 20,000 people died. And you have to understand, maybe you don't know, most people died. If you got wounded on the battlefield around this time, it was a death sentence, because there was no doctors and nurses and equipment and medicine around. You got wounded, you died from your wounds normally. Most people were not killed instantly, but you died from the effects of your wounds. And he was thrown into this and saw what was going on around him, all these people, enemy and foe, it doesn't matter, and felt like, what's going on? Nobody helps him. Somebody needs to help. Somebody needs to do something. And he looked around, and lo and behold, nobody was there except him. So his heart went out. Something happened. He had it's just an encounter. And he it says, you can read about it, that he went around into the neighboring villages and got people out. It's like, we need to help those people. Come, bring water, we clean their wounds, whatever we can do, and help them and put them up, that they can rest, and, all the things that needed to happen. So that was the situation, and that cost him. His heart went out to found the Red Cross as a neutral entity, because they were thinking and he in a short time he was able to actually organize and get funds, get nations involved, because it didn't exist. For now, this is normal. For us now, this is normal, but for that time, it was not normal. That was the norm. That was the situation. No help, and so he managed to found this organization and get a lot of nations on board, and they grew and grew and grew. And so that they were able to come as neutral parties into a war-torn territory and offer help to the wounded, and not being a threat, to help anyone, doesn't matter from what side. And that it's officially organized. It's the Geneva Convention, that's what it's based on. And of course, there's a lot of abuse, sadly, in some wars and battles. But in general, most nations now, they have signed up to that and actually have this code. Like we leave the wounded, don't kill the wounded. Somebody needs to take care of them, both sides actually. So that was Henry Dunant. And so next to that, he was also a businessman. And the story goes, in short, that he was not so successful there in that segment, and actually lost a lot of money, bankrupted his company, whatever. And at that time, that was a shameful thing to do. And he tried to get back on the ground, and nobody wanted to help him. His friends shunned him. He was thrown out of his own organization, or had to resign, whatever, the Red Cross. And couldn't get back off the ground. He turned weak and poor and older, and he had to leave Switzerland and went to, I think, Paris or another place in France. And eventually, he came back as an old man in a village town somewhere, like out in the boonies. And there's this, saying all of this, we all have, normally behind man like this, there's another story we hardly hear. And it's not just all success. It's not all like rosy. It's not all like, yay, I just did this. No, man, it's stuff like this happens to somebody with that great of a mind and heart. And a journalist heard somehow I think he was hiking in the Swiss Alps or mountains, that there's this guy living in this village, and he claims to be the founder of the Red Cross. And he wanted to see him, and he found him, and he interviewed him, and he put out the story. And so finally, after many, many years, Henry Dunant received the honor and respect that he deserved as the founder of the Red Cross. And he eventually got the first Nobel Peace Prize with somebody else, like in different segments. But the first Nobel Prize ever given was to Henry Dunant. So that's the story about the Swiss Red Cross. And it's international, it's still strong, and it's a great organization. But we have to sometimes know the story behind it in order to understand where this is coming from and why it was put in place, and honor it even more, and be amazed even more about somebody having the courage to look at the world around him and do something about the things that are wrong, and not just talk about it. Anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. This is my perspective. Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.